A very good morning to all of you students. This is SS period and we are talking about unit number 6, that is human resources. In this we talk about population, we talk about census and how population is affected to the country or the growth of the country that we have discussed earlier. In this video we are at the end part of the unit. And the topic for today's video is occupational structure. What is occupation exactly? Occupation means we can say a person's business, vocation or the job person is doing. So that will be discussed in this video. You are requested to keep a textbook with you. Here I am, here on page number 49. Occupational structure. Any person in the country engaged in any kind of economic activity is included in occupational group. As I told you that occupation means any economic activity. That is known as occupational group. It is divided into two parts, that is earning population and dependent population. So this economic activity is divided into two parts. First part is earning population and second part is dependent population. The earning population is constantly increasing due to rapid industrialization in the country. So talking about this earning population, it is constantly increasing. And why this is increasing constantly? Due to rapid industrialization. Due to rapid industrialization. Change in population composition. Okay, so this is occupational structure and it is known as any economic activity. There are two parts, earning population, dependent population. This earning population is constantly increasing due to rapid industrialization. Okay, now next topic is change in the population composition. Changes in population composition are two types. So this is also divided into two types. First is qualitative changes and second is quantitative changes. First is its quantitative changes and second is qualitative changes. Okay, so we have these two parts of population composition, that is qualitative and quantitative and qualitative. First we will go for quantitative. Please you note down these students. After that we will go for this in detail. First we'll go for quantitative changes. Now see, you know the meaning of quality and quantity. I mean, quality we are talking about how that thing is, and quantity means the measurement of the thing. Quantitative changes, sometimes we notice a rise or fall in the population. Sometimes population is high and sometimes population is low. This happens due to the population growth and migration of people. So here we have rise and fall of population. And I mean, population is not steady everywhere. Sometimes it is in rise or sometimes it is very less. So this is due to this situation is due to population growth and migration of people. Means people migrate themselves from one country to another country. So in country which they are going, so their population will be high, and the country which they are living, so there we can find less population. Okay, so due to this migration of people, this population rise and fall is there. The conditions leading to a quantitative changes are landlessness, low per head land ratio, urbanization, as well as social and administrative reasons. So these are the condition of these quantitative changes. Okay, now second we will go for qualitative changes. The changes observed in the levels of health and education indicates qualitative changes. So here we have the rise and fall of population. In these qualitative changes we have education and health level. So we can say levels of health and education. It alters the way of thinking and behavior as well as style and standard of living. I mean, people, this qualitative changes. Alter means change. So this change the way of living style of the people, behavior of the people and thinking process of the people. Means because of this qualitative changes, this kind of change we can find in society. Means education and health, you know that both are the key points for a healthy society. So if these two, health and education, two are very strong, so we can build a very strong and sturdy society, we can say. The other factors responsible for qualitative changes are dedication, hard work, patriotism, enthusiasm, courage, etc. These factors bring about socio-cultural changes. So especially we can say these qualitative changes deals with social changes. So let me write the keyword of this. It deals with social changes. So what to do to bring social change in the society? So first of all, education and health both must be strong. Means these are the pillars of any society, good society. So these pillars must be strong. And apart from that, we can say we have dedication, hard work, patriotism, enthusiasm, courage, etc. Means this brings socio-cultural changes. Sorry. So this is our qualitative changes. So now we can say, student, that with the help of these qualitative changes we can build a powerful society, or we can say we can build a strong society. But for that we must need some of the criteria to build that, and those criteria are, first of all, health and education must be strong there. Deals with social changes. I mean this qualitative changes deals with social changes, and those social changes will come because of this dedication, hard work, patriotism, enthusiasm and courage. Means people have to be ready to accept the change, and people have to be ready to change their behavior. When this is happen, the social culture changes will be there for sure. Please you note down this. After that we'll go further. Now these qualitative changes have two parts, that is religious group and linguistic group. Okay, so we will go for that. Qualitative changes, it has two parts. That is religious changes and religious group and linguistic group. And here I am writing linguistic groups. Okay. So linguistic means related to language, means each and every people of the different states have different language. So we'll deal with that. First we'll go for religious group. India is a secular state that we know. People who follow different religions stay together here. Among all the religions, Hindus are in majority, followed by Muslim, Christian, Sikh, Buddhist, Jains, Parsis, etc. So first our keyword is India is secular state or secular country. See, we can say that here people can choose their own religion, means there is no any restriction or there is no any rule in our constitution that people cannot follow this religion. Being a Hindu, if person wants to believe in Islam, then he or she can do that. Means we should not stop them by saying that being this religious person, you cannot follow any other religion or you cannot follow any other god. Okay, that's why we can say that here we have secular country. Second key point is different religion majority follow Hindu religion. We have many like Sikhs, Jains, Parsis, Muslims, etc. Okay, this is our religious group. Now, linguistic group. India is a large country with the diversity as its prime characteristics. Unity and diversity, that we are known for that. So, unity in diversity. India is known as its diversified culture. Currently, there are 22 languages recognized by our constitution. Total we have languages as per our constitution. Hindi and English are the two official languages. The states have been formed on the basis of languages. Main are Hindi and English. These two are our main language, official language we can say, and every states have their own languages. Okay, so this is our linguistic groups. Linguistic means students language. Okay, you please note down these two. After that we'll go for health structure. Health structure. The health of the person can be defined as the physical, mental, emotional, social, economic and spiritual well-being. Health doesn't mean only physical health. Here we are talking about people's mental health, physical health, emotional, social and economic health should be well-being. So emotional, social, mental, physical health. This is needed for a well-being society. The best level of health helps in fostering the process of national development. See, economic health must be there, and spiritual too. It is believed that if we people are very strong by this health, then we can develop our country rapidly. Okay, so we can say that national development depend on this health. Okay, next is national population policy. The population of a nation is its wealth and strength. To make a strong country, we need to focus on the nation's wealth and strength. If the human resources is educated, trained, healthy and strong, then it will foster the development of the nation. So to nurture the development of the nation, to foster the development of the nation, our human resources must be healthy, educated and trained. A carefully planned use of human resources builds the foundation for the development of the nation. To keep the pace with the developed nation, it is very important that the human resources is developed. See, still we are developing country. India is not a developed country. It is developing country. So to cope up with developed country, or to keep the pace with developed country, we need to make our human resources stronger. The factor that hamper the progress of a nation must be eliminated or controlled. Overpopulation is one such factor which has to be dealt with as per the population policy adopted since 1951. Nation's growth and strength. For that we need education, trained minds, people. Okay, this foundation of development, we can say obstructed factor must be controlled. Obstructed means obstructed to the nation's development. Okay, still we have one paragraph to deal. Please note down this thing. See, population is the first obstacle we can say. I mean, overpopulation. Is the first obstacle. As a part of national population policy, various programs like nutritious food program, care for mother and child program, pure drinking water, school health programs, safeguarding the rights of children, etc. must reach to the grassroots level. So, as a part of this national population policy, in 1951, under these different programs, even the 5-year plans are made keeping the national policy in the focus. We must resolve to contribute as committee and responsible citizens toward the program of the nation. I mean, we have to support, we should support this kind of programs. Healthy India, prosperous India. That country is prosperous whose citizens are mentally and physically prosperous. And this is very true. If the people of the country or citizens of the country are prosperous and healthy, then country will surely be healthy and prosperous. So this is our unit number 6 and this is our national population policy. Here we have ended this unit. Let me give you homework. Your homework is, you have to do exercise question 1, question 2 and question 3. I mean, answer the following question which is there on page number 50. This question 2 is page number 51 and question 3 is also page number 51. Answer the following question in short. Explain the term given below and answer the following questions in detail. These 3 questions you have to do in your homework. Okay? Remember, whole exercise you have to do. Question 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so we will meet again in next video with another unit about Indian history and freedom fighters. That is unit number 7. Please take care. Bye.